recording. Recording in progress. They couldn't pick out a different audio. They couldn't get a different recording for that. So like I said, welcome. This is the Morbidly Curious Book Club. Vincent, oh, that's cute. Yeah, please. Oh, I know Ralph is going to want to see him. So I'll grab him again. But yeah, thank you for joining the Morbidly Curious Book Club. I've got our Zoom call over here, and then TikTok Live over here. Rafe.
Hello. There you are. Hi. Oh my goodness.
I know.
I can totally see why you could not say no. Oh my word. Look at that face.
He's got the craziest eyes. I can't leave him up here or else I'll just get on my laptop and start deleting things. He loves how warm the computer is, so he just sits. Yeah, apparently so. Well, Chris and I were heading to a golf tournament, and we had been passing this estate sale for the past like 3 days, and we both love estate sales and antiquing.
Oh, so do we.
And they had a bunch of good stuff, like
I
mean, really cool stuff that had all the pieces and parts to it. And we walk up, and we were there for probably 30 seconds before the homeowner's best friend comes out of the house, and she's like, "Do y'all like kittens?" And we were like, "Shit. Yeah, we do." She brought him out, and she was like, "Yeah, somebody dumped him at the gas station. He was all wet. He was making himself hoarse because he was meowing so much." And Chris and I were like looking at each other like, we have to take this cat home. And he is so cute. He's so good. I think he's around 12 to 15 weeks old. He's really good at he's eating, he's using the litter box.
Oh, good.
The king of pooping and eating, which is all you need to do to be a cat, to be honest, and sleeping. He slept all day. So
that means I'm a cat, I guess. Sorry, I just
me.
Pooping? Eating? Hey, I'm a cat.
Child. Yeah, so he's great, and the other cats are kind of freaked out by him, but we'll get there. I took a picture of them all eating. They're next to each other in their bowls, and it's like the best picture I've ever taken.
Ever that you've ever taken ever.
National Geographic level picture right here on my iPhone.
That's awesome.
But we will think of a name eventually. We just haven't had one stick yet. Right now he's just Nugget and little man.
That's fun.
Pickle's cute. Anyway, thank you guys so much.
Everyone, we're so sorry. We just completely
Last week it was PlayStation 5. This week it's an actual cat. I've
been
a new mother for the past month.
Welcome to the Meowbidly Curious Club, where we talk about cats. Oh yeah, and bugs.
Books every once in a while. Hi Ben, welcome. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And I think I just heard a car door shut. Nope, I'm hearing things. Cool. So this is the Morbidly Curious Book Club. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful that you're here. We have almost been doing this for a year now, and I'm just giddy beside myself because I love this weird little morbidly curious family that we have created here. It's been a good time. So little housekeeping. Number 1 was the kitty. I had to show you guys that. Number 2 is typically my boyfriend is gaming, but he is actually out right now with his nephew, so we don't have to worry about anybody screaming in the background. I will say the air conditioning gets kind of loud. It's on right now. People sometimes think that I am suddenly vacuuming in the middle of a Zoom call. That is just the air conditioning. It's noisy. I can't do anything about it. I am not vacuuming. I promise. It comes off and on every once in a while, as air conditioning does. Anyway, number 4 is you guys don't have to speak. Nobody has to participate if you don't want to, even if you've read the book, didn't read the book, whatever. I think he's behind the couch now. I'm going to be periodically making sure he's not hurting himself. So even if you didn't finish the book, you're welcome to still hang out with us and still join and be a part of the discussion. Or if you just kind of want to see what this is about, you're welcome to hang out. Everybody's welcome. Next is everybody has differing opinions. We all know how this works. I don't know if you guys have done book clubs in person, but typically you go around a little table and everybody says their 2 cents, and then we carry on and have discussion questions. But over Zoom, it gets kind of tricky. But some people are going to have maybe different opinions than you. We haven't gotten into a super heated argument yet, but I'm sure one day it will happen. Kind of can't wait for it. But one day. So for the time being, because we are on Zoom, TikTok, you could just go ahead and comment. For the time being on Zoom, you can actually do, I believe it's reactions. So you can click raise hand, and that puts you at the top of my queue and tells you that you would like to say something. And then you just select lower hand when you're done chatting. Or if somebody says something really great, give them a little clapping emoji or do the snaps. I don't remember what Heather was doing last time. I think it was little jazz hands. Not Heather, Ashley. Ashley was doing little jazz hands. So use those to your advantage. It makes it a lot easier for me. And if you don't mind keeping yourself muted, and then once you have something to say, go ahead and raise your hand, and then we'll keep going and making sure that everybody's getting a chance to speak and everybody's getting their 2 cents in. And then we can do the rest of the housekeeping later and how you can support the Morbidly Curious Book Club and all that good stuff, all of our social medias. So what month is it? August, we were supposed to read another kitty. Love it. Also, if you have cats, please bring them to book club. Hi. The Unidentified, Mythical Monsters, Alien Encounters, and Our Obsession with the Unexplained by Colin Dickey. This is the author of Ghostland, which I have not read, but I've heard wonderful things about. Unfortunately, I did not finish this one, and not on purpose. This month was a little crazy, as every month is, but I personally, which I'm kind of happy I saw other comments on this, personally found his writing a little dry. So it was a little bit harder for me to truly get into this and for me to sink my teeth in it and love it as much as I wanted to, considering it's one of my favorite topics. I literally have a Loch Ness monster tattooed on my arm and a little alien spaceship. So this is like everything that I wanted and more. This is definitely one of the books that I saw along with Radium Girls that I had bought, years ago and wanted to read with people, but never knew like exactly how to do that. And I figured this is the best place for that, is the Morbidly Curious Book Club. So I feel like this is very fitting, but unfortunately, I don't think people loved it as much as we wanted to. But I've heard that Colin Dickey is a great writer. Ghostland is really popular, but this one is just a little bit more dry. And I don't know what the rating on Goodreads is, but I think it is a little bit lower. I think it's under a 3.5, which for Goodreads is a little low. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Haven't read it yet. I do plan on finishing it. I still have the audiobook checked out of Libby. So while I have it, I will go ahead and finish it. I keep forgetting that there's, more days left in August. This is kind of an earlier book club. We typically try to meet on like the 30th or 31st, but we still have a couple days left. So anyway, anybody want to tell me, did anybody else finish it? Okay, cool. Lauren, would you like to tell us your 2 cents?
So I actually powered through it on like 1.8 speed on Audible.
Love it.
Mostly because my mom is in the club too, and I wanted to talk to her about it.
I love that so much. Okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
So I had a hard time following it. Also, I didn't he had a lot of interesting things that he would bring up and then just kind of forget to finish talking about it until much later when I had forgotten about it. So I don't know, that's kind of my 2 cents. And it wasn't my favorite, but I also didn't hate it either.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. And you kind of depend on an author for our ADHD brains, I guess, to keep on track. Catherine.
Hi, all right, I'll turn my video on. I'm Lauren's mom.
Oh my God, I love that. Hi.
Hi.
That makes me so happy.
It makes me happy too, because I get to see her beautiful face. Lauren is not enjoying it as much, but is kind of surprised I didn't hate it as much, or she didn't hate it as much, because I hated it. And I was a little bit ahead, and I love everything I read. And this one, the organization for me was not good. I used to teach English, and everything about this was wonderful in that he didn't follow a formula, but I could not stand the way that he would start talking about something and then abandon it, come back to it, abandon it, come back to it. And then all of a sudden later, it was critically important that you understood what a crank or a Fortean was. I had to go back and reteach myself multiple times what a crank and a Fortean was. And the most frustrating thing was Lauren and I were trying to discuss it just to make sure we understood what we had read. And the guy Fort, who is a Fortean and kind of defines the whole Fortean movement, is described as no mere crank. Like he's not just a regular crank. So he himself is a crank, but I didn't understand. And I don't like feeling stupid. And I think that was the thing that I struggled with, was like, it seemed like it was bright and intelligent, and I just wasn't in on the joke. I don't know. That was my overwhelming thought. I was glad when it was over, but it was my nemesis. I was going to finish no matter what, because I just didn't want to leave it hanging.
We hate finishing books.
Yes.
I hate reading this till the end. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, am I a crank? Like, am I part of the problem? What is he calling me stupid because I believe in these? Like, first I was like, wait a minute. So it's something I never, ever really do is I really try and go, like most of the media I consume, I go in without hearing any reviews. Unless sometimes with video games, because I like to make sure that I'm not going to waste, $70 on something, but that's just because it's a little more expensive. I never go in looking at reviews because it will totally sway my perception of it. And I will go in with the love that people had for it or the hate that people had for it. So I made the mistake of going in and checking out some of the reviews. And one of the top ones said, "We get it. You're a skeptic. Like, I got it. All right. Thank you. I didn't need 400 pages of that or however many pages this book is." So that immediately was off-putting because, I'm so curious as to why people believe in these things. And I'm so curious as to why this is such a hot topic and, aliens and all that. Like, come on, why are we so fascinated with that? But there was like a snarkiness to his writing almost in some parts. And I was like, feeling kind of the same way where it's like, you're making me feel stupid, man. I don't like that. I get so excited when people hate the books for some reason. I get even more excited when people love them, but when people hate them, I'm like, oh, let's go. I'm ready. Okay. Other Catherine. Or is that the same Catherine? No, wait, that's two different Catherine M's.
Hi.
Okay, two different Catherine M's.
So my big thing with it was kind of, I had the same kind of thing like you. Like I was feeling like sort of like I feel like he's calling me out, like I'm like crazy for like being interested in this stuff.
Right.
But I love nonfiction and I read a lot of it, and like I'm okay with things being a little dry, but I also feel like he was trying to say like, you can't believe in this because this is science, but he'd take like one thing where something got disproved and be like, see, you can't believe in this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not science either, guy. Like, that's not how that works. You have to like look at both sides and like, I'm not saying that all of this is real and that all of it is like fact or anything like that, but science is about looking at both sides and like seeing what the real truth is. Like, it's not just taking one negative story and like one kind of thing and saying, okay, we're done, that's it, and that's kind of my impression of the whole book. That was kind of how I felt.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad I'm not alone in that sentiment, because there's so much fun in I live in North Carolina. I live near the Appalachian Mountains, and I have friends who, for a living, are Bigfoot hunters. Shit you not. They have a television show, they have a YouTube channel, they make money looking for Bigfoot. And you know what? Some of the shit that they have found, I'm like, okay, all right, what, this looks crazy. Like, this is some really good evidence. I went out one time with them, gosh, when I was in like college. I had rocks thrown at me from the middle of the woods in Hickory, North Carolina. What animal is going to throw rocks at you in the middle of the woods? So it's just, a part of me is so attached. I mean, one of the big things that my dad and I bond over is ghost shows. We love watching ghost adventures, maybe because it's sometimes so goofy, it's fun to watch, but like, we love the Sci-Fi Channel. We love all this stuff. We love Ghost Hunters. My first cat was named Tango after Dave Tango from Ghost Hunters. Like, this is such like an important part of my life. And I was so excited to read about like the science of so why we're so interested in this. But reading it, I was like, I feel called out right now. I don't like how he's talking to me. I don't like it. So I'm glad we feel the same way on that one. Heather.
I was just gonna say that I feel the same way as I look at my "I want to believe" poster in front of me. Um,
Yes.
like I've gone to things like Alien Con. I've taken trips to cryptozoology like museums. I've been to Point Pleasant, and so like as I was reading this, I was like, he's calling me the fuck out. Like, just because I enjoy weird stuff, and there's like folklore around it, and I just like weird shit, and there's an entire book dedicated to like me being a problem. Like, and then all it did was I went through and bought books by some of the people that I bought like a bunch of books just because I want to see what these people wrote about, like
Yeah.
more in detail. So I don't know, it kind of like piqued my interest even more. So I didn't finish the book. I plan on finishing it. I did feel like he tried to put too much in each of the chapters and jumped around a lot. I don't know. Yeah, I read a lot of journals for work. Like I'm in biomedical research, so I'm used to like really dry reading. But this is a little different.
Yeah, I went in immediately saying that it was dry, and I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
could also say that Radium Girls was maybe a little dry as well. Like, I
Yeah.
definitely am not opposed to very factual writing,
Yeah.
because that in itself is probably going to be a little dry and a little textbook. But at the same time, yeah, I would feel like I was being reprimanded for something while I was reading this. I was like, okay. Pomoster on TikTok was asking if anybody loved it. I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody did. But we do have two hands raised. Serena and then Lauren had her hand raised as well.
Okay, so that's actually good timing because I raised my hand to say that I actually did like it.
Okay. We have
I will say though, like everybody's criticisms are very valid, and I agree with a lot of them so far, especially about him kind of jumping around a little bit and not diving as deep as I wish he had. But the thing that I really liked, and I too am somebody who like really bonded over those types of shows with my father. And I was like, reading this book, I was like, I kind of want him to read it. But my favorite part was whenever he started to unpack some of like the cultural implications of why we believe in these things. So like the chapter where he talks about like Bigfoot and Yeti and like kind of like what it means to see something as like an other than human. And he starts to kind of unpack that kind of concept. And I was like very intrigued by that. But I just wish he went one step further. And same thing with when he started to talk about UFOs and how the cultural perception of them changed from like the 50s, and it was kind of like this kooky thing that was like harmless and kind of fun, and slowly dissolved into this, kind of very concerning and dangerous, like can't trust the government, can't this like cattle mutilation, like very scary horror thing. And I just thought that was a super interesting like topic again that like I want to like deep dive more into.
right. Yeah, I definitely feel like the topics at hand, in the background, and I guess the lore of it is obviously super important. And I do feel like at times he did kind of go into that, because I couldn't tell you when like the first Bigfoot sighting was or anything like that. Like I couldn't tell you exactly the science. Careful using that word, science around this. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I got into the thick of it as much as you guys did to understand exactly why he didn't really go into certain topics and everything. So I whenever I finish it, I'm sure I will see some of that. But yeah, it sounds like that is going to be an issue coming up. Genuine question: did anybody like it? Go ahead, Lauren.
So I also wanted to talk about like how he introduced that like cultural idea, but never really like went far enough into like the specifics of the culture and stuff. In my opinion, and he did a lot of like talking about these towns like Roswell, New Mexico, and the people of Nepal, but he didn't really talk about like how these myths and stuff like affected them and affected communities and affected the people that lived in these places. It was about the people who were going to these places to become like explorers and adventurers and find a new lease on life or whatever, and be scientists in this kind of like colonialist kind of way. And that kind of I wanted to hear more about like these locations and like how they specifically were affected by these things, like, and the people that lived there. And I'm from West Virginia, so I was also kind of upset he never brought up Point Pleasant and Mothman and stuff like that. And but that's
Mothman's
just my
huge.
bias, you know. I know he's like one of
Mothman
the
is
big
up there with
ones. It's
Bigfoot.
not even- I know it's like
I want to
not even-
add him to my sleeve. I want him back here.
I have a friend who has a Mothman on his thigh, and the eyes glow in black light.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, it was like, so on one hand I wanted to hear about Mothman because like that was pertinent to me, but I also was like, I want to hear about how the people in Roswell react to things like that, and the people in the how the people reacted to like the meat shower and stuff. It was always just like weird thing happened.
Chris just got home. Sorry. Chris got home. Can you even see the little one? He's like the people inside. Have you guys ever been to Roswell? Has anybody been to Roswell? What a fucking weird town. We went obviously whenever I left Los Angeles and we were driving across the country. One of the places we had to stop was Roswell. It's a funky little place. The lights, you know, like the street lights are this certain shape, and it looks like an alien head, and they have alien eyes on each light post, and everything is alien themed. Everything is alien themed. There's signs everywhere. The streets are titled things, and it's such a funky little place. Go ahead, Lauren. It's
Did
a
you
whole
see
other note for me.
The McDonald's in Roswell?
Yes, it's like a chip.
Yeah.
It looks like a ship. It's the weirdest place. And it was, I don't know this, I don't even know how to properly explain this, but everything was really loud. Like on this, when you're standing on the street, it seemed like nobody there had an exhaust, and there was just like no shits given about how loud their cars were. And we were standing on the street corners just kind of freaked out because nothing really felt right there. Did he? Okay, we're good. Cat started making its way towards the door. Yeah, I did a video whenever I was in there, but recording it was tricky. Even in that, it was just way too loud. What did you say, Ralph? It's a big hole on it. Note for me, never going to Roswell again. Yeah, I don't think I will. I don't think I'll be going back.
It had a weird vibe. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun to kind of drive as far close as you could to Groom Lake.
Right.
You know, without like, you know, and seeing like the white SUVs up on the top of the hill, you know, knowing you're being watched and having them kind of follow you as you're, you know, like going along the barrier and, you know, not crossing it because they will mess with you if you do. But like the town of Roswell, we kind of did the same thing. We kind of went, okay, we've done this, let's go.
Yeah.
It was that
Get in Roswell, check, let's leave.
Yep, not getting fries at that McDonald's. Nope, no matter how good they taste, it's no. Yeah, that was it.
I feel like I need to pull up a picture of it now.
I thought Roswell was cool, but I went when I was like 6 years old, so.
Oh my god. While I'm pulling this picture up, Haley, I hope I don't know how to correct me on your name.
Yeah, it's Haley.
Haley.
So I finished the whole book because I was determined. I was reading it at the same time as I was like reading for my law and ethics exam. So I was like, oh, I want to read something for fun. And then it was like, oh, it's another dry fairy textbook coming off type of reading. I liked it in the sense where I was like, oh, I'm getting a lot of like the history type, like background information about kind of why some of these beliefs may have started. But the whole time I was reading it, I was like, okay, dude, I get it. You don't believe any of it. You're thinking all these people you're like interviewing and talking to are dumb, and you're just kind of laughing at them in the back of your head as you're planning how you're going to write about them in the book.
Yeah. I love that. Also, I don't know why you're looking at the Morbidly Curious Book Club books for light reading. This book club has done nothing but make people mad. And I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe next month's book is even worse. Talk about getting mad.
Perfect. Well, I started reading, I think I saw on your TikTok story, it was someone was listening to that one audio book. Was like the one surgeon one.
Oh, Ice Pick Surgeon, I think is.
No, not that one. Crap. If I could remember the name of it, it was like a blue book and it had like surgical tools on the front of it. It was like 1,000 bodies, something.
I think.
Are you talking about the Empire of the Scalpel?
Yeah, Empire of the Scalpel, maybe?
Potentially.
It might have been Ashley.
That was me.
Maybe. I think that's if I could pull it up right now, but I'm on my phone, so I can't be on my two things at once. But
you've piqued my curiosity, so let me know when you figure it out, because I really want to read Empire of the Scalpel for the book club as well. It's like a history of surgery, so I would definitely love to read that with you guys. I feel like that'd be super cool.
That's a 2-month. That's a 2-month patches. That's a 2-month book.
Big book. So was next month's book. I think next month is like 400 pages.
Yeah, that Empire of the Scalpel has to be a 2-month book.
Apparently I need 2 months to read all of our books, so I can't finish a damn one on time. Amber, you had your hand up.
Hello, I've arrived.
Hello, welcome.
But yeah, like I think I literally read like 3 chapters. I tried really hard. I got through like the first section of him talking about like the Atlantis, and that's kind of where I gave up, kind of slash, because like, and the thing is like I have his other book that it was the same thing. It's like just like it's hard to get into, and like I've also heard from the result of that one is like I think it's called like Ghostville, something. Ghostland, yeah. Like his like a lot of criticism about his writing and how a lot of people don't like his like style of it, and now I can see why. And also just because like, and like I think I'm kind of glad that like I didn't finish reading it. If he like it was a book of him trying to disprove the existence of all of these things, because like I believe in all of those things. Like my cat is Mothman. So obviously I agree. I believe in cryptids.
There you go, Lauren.
My nickname is literally I joke with people that I am a cryptid, that my gender is a cryptid.
I in myself am a mystery.
So like it says from him, I'm like I remember like one of my favorite podcasts they don't exist anymore. I stopped doing it, but for anybody who wants to learn more about cryptids, there's a podcast called I think it's the Cryptid Catcher, Cryptid Keeper, something of that nature. Cryptid something. They stopped doing it, I think, just like either just before the pandemic or like at the start of the pandemic, but like there's like 200 episodes and each one's a different cryptid. It's so good. And it's also like a kind of like more comedy based too. So it's not just like, so it's the complete opposite of our friend Colin with like the formulaic, like very dry researchy type thing. It's a lot more like, like I think like at the end of the episode, each time they talk about a cryptid, they go, so like, on a scale of like 5 cuddly dogs, how much do you love this cryptid? Would you want to pet it? Type like that type of like,
humor with it
thing and humor with it. So that's like I really like it, because like I love true crime podcasts and stuff of that nature, but I can't, for the most part, do like the very dry stuff unless like I'm just using it kind of like as background noise. I think the only one I've ever been able to do is Cults, which is like another book that would I think might be good for the book club. It's literally the Cults book put out by the podcast people who did the Cults podcast.
Max Cutler.
Yeah, it's like just came out, I think, like the other week.
Kidneys. I remember that.
Yes.
I just bought it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, do I have
yeah, that one.
yeah, that one.
Definitely.
I know I have
read
it somewhere,
that.
but I don't know where I put it. You know, like I
Also,
tried
I
reading
wrote
it.
down the Cryptid podcast. I will check that out because I need.
Yeah, it's like, but between that book and then my brain acquired a new hyperfixation about the Syrian civil war. So that's where I'm at right now with my 3 books. I decided that I had to buy all at once off of Amazon so that way I could fully learn about the conflict in Syria.
Haley said Working Stiff was the one that she was thinking about.
Oh yeah, I read that one
I
too.
think I know that book.
Let me see. That's not Mary Roach. That's
No, but like
No,
that's
it's
still
not.
that title sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
because Mary Roach's is called Stiff.
Yeah,
'Cause
hers is just the
I'm
one
staring
word
at that one.
Yeah, it's Judy Melanick.
And it's the one that's the making of a coroner or a medical
Yeah.
examiner.
Yeah, okay.
Which I feel
Yeah,
like
I just finished that.
I feel like we need to read that one to get to redeem ourselves for the
good.
Vacation of a Coroner that we read like almost a year ago.
So what I like about the Working Stiff one is her tone of voice and the cadence that she uses throughout the book. It keeps you engaged the entire time.
And you know what? I'm starting, and we kind of covered this already as far as dry writing goes and factual, textual, I guess. Writing isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I've come to notice, especially with the book that we're reading next month, that I do kind of look for some type of prose with nonfiction writing. Like it does need to have a little bit of pizzazz to it in order to like
it does
keep my attention. Ashley, I'm so happy you're here. I see that you have your hand raised. Thank you for joining. I know you didn't finish the book, but go ahead. You were texting about it earlier, like, no, I'm not ready. Oh, are you ready? No.
Okay, I couldn't get past, and I'm going all the way back to the introduction. These motherfuckers called their company or their business MUFON. MUFON.
You said that. I was really like, I have that underlined.
And
I have that underlined. I was so mad about that too.
I'm like, all these smart scientists, and they call their company MUFON. And I'm like, I'm just gonna text her now. It's right here in a minute. I'm like, these motherfuckers call their company MUFON.
I love it. Straight to the point, these guys.
It's just like a bad patch. It's just like, I just circled that.
I almost joined MUFON at Alien Con the one year I went. Heather said, first of all, I didn't know that Alien Con was a thing.
Me neither.
But maybe we need to meet up.
Yeah, they had it. I live in Baltimore right now, but they haven't had it here in several years, but I've seen it pop up since I went probably 2019, 2018 in other states. So I don't know if they have it back since the pandemic, but I met Travis Walton, got a book signed by him.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting. I went to a few really weird fucking talks.
As to be expected, I would just
There's some great panels. I think there was a weird anniversary for Chariots of the Gods the year I went, so there's a huge panel for that. But yeah, MUFON was there, and I was like, I know this is kind of a cult, but I am curious and I want to know.
Out of all the cults
and I almost didn't
know, I feel like you'd be a little safer in this one.
Yeah.
This one just feels
yeah. I was like, so I pay a fee and I get access to like cool stuff that people see in their skies. I mean, all you do is sit in your backyard, I feel like, and watch, and there's a network for people just to like tell each other about what you see.
And I do that
that's the
anyway.
gist I got from it. Yeah, and I like my boyfriend was like, maybe we shouldn't do this because the table started giving like a weird vibe after a while.
He's like, did that host patches not teach you anything? Also, when it comes to working stiff, please do not let it be confused with this version of working stiff.
Oh god.
The Misadventures of an Accidental Sexpert.
Oh my.
Oh, I'm equally as curious.
I am too.
I'm morbidly curious about that.
This is also a great title. It makes the medical expert one less sense, honestly. Anyway, Catherine, you had your hand raised again. You are muted. I don't know. Was that a goose?
I'm sorry. I'm having technology problems.
You're good.
I just wanted to say that a lot of people were disappointed that he was a skeptic, and he kind of backtracks at the very end of the book and encourages us to still find wonder in the world, and kind of insists that he doesn't mean to take it away in some ways, but he I don't know. I feel like a lot of my enthusiasm for aliens and cryptids was definitely kind of squashed with this book. So I'm just gonna write it off as it didn't happen and move on. But I did start the next book for a palate cleanser, the Unmasked Alice, and it is so readable and it is so good. So I think we're all gonna really love it. I hope. I think it's so good. I'm almost done with it already. I can't stop reading it.
It's my favorite book of the year.
Yeah, it's super good.
And what's even more astonishing to me is, and we'll talk about the September book more in a bit, but what's so wild to me was I posted like a 30-minute review of it on my YouTube page because I just had so much to say about it. I absolutely loved it. The author, Rick Emerson, messaged me on Instagram thanking me for my review. And I was like,
Did this just happen?
Thanks for writing it. What do I say to that? It's an absolutely phenomenal book, and I'm so excited. I literally plan the rest of the year just so we could squeeze in Unmasked Alice at some point in this book. I am curious, talking about cryptids and everything like that. Is there anybody here who is absolutely a skeptic, does not believe in anything like this, thinks aliens are a hoax, thinks Bigfoot's bullshit, or maybe only 50-50, like aliens are real, Bigfoot's bullshit, Loch Ness Monster, meh, Mothman, yes, Loch Ness Monster, no? Like, does anybody have diehard opinions on how they feel
I
about
can
it?
produce physical evidence that Mothman exists.
I have Nobby apparently in my backyard, so
You did say that, and I was confused.
Hang on.
Is Nobby in the book? I don't know who Nobby is. Nobby's
okay, you live in North Carolina. How do you not know who
Don't know
Nobby
Nobby.
is?
I don't know the Nobby.
It is Bigfoot, Hazer, North Carolina. They call him Nobby for some reason. Knobby.
Cryptid of the day, Nobby description. I love that. This was
Apparently-
in Carpenter's.
Apparently, I cannot produce physical evidence that Mothman exists. He has decided to be antisocial.
Oh, I get it. Good one. That's a good one. I gotta do my research on Nobby. I love this.
Yeah, they have a festival every year.
What?
In my neck of the woods, yeah.
My personal favorite is the Wampus Cat.
Oh my god, this whole page is things that I'm just now learning. Oh, there's Mothman. So, everybody pretty much believes, because that's incredible. If so, we are in the right book club. If that's the case. Awesome.
Yeah, I believe that they can exist. I haven't fully seen one with my own eyes. The whole seeing is believing thing. And My thing was with this book, I understand that he was a skeptic, and I went in with the skeptic attitude as I was going to read it. My issue was the snarkiness of his tone and the underlining message that I was getting as I was trying to get through these chapters.
Yeah.
Because at one point I just skipped like a whole section. I'm like, I'm just going to go to section 3. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go to section 3.
Which I did love. One of the quotes you posted at the beginning of that part about saucers, like there's fun in the questioning and the myth of it all, and maybe it would be less fun if we found out they existed, almost type of thing.
Exactly. That
Well,
was
that was
like
a great
I seen
quote.
that, and I'm like, that is a great opening to this particular section, and I'm like, I'm gonna post that because
And it wasn't Colin Dickey's words.
Exactly. It says, if we knew exactly what the flying saucers were, we would have solved the mystery, returned to boredom, and stopped thinking again. I hope we never really solve the mystery of the saucers.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Great.
Ralph, I'm so sorry. I did not see your hand was raised because your very pale palm was matching in with your door frame there.
Very, very pale.
Embrace the page, my friend.
I-
That's what I say.
Hello.
Hi, friend.
It's one of those things. I agree with so much of what everyone else said, and it's really hard for me for an author to say, to spend basically the entire book saying, y'all are a bunch of idiots for believing this bullshit.
Yeah.
And then try to like soften it up at the very end and go, well, if there's any lesson here, it's to cling to wonder and the possibilities and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, you've treated us like we're dumb, like we're stupid, like how could we possibly, how dare we believe in any of this? And they go, oh yeah, but believe in wonder, believe in possibilities, go to Disney, believe in UFOs, I don't care. I don't know, I just ended up mad because
I agree.
I
I
don't
am with
know.
you.
Yeah, it's like you didn't earn that. You didn't earn the right to say that at the very end of like, oh, you guys are fine, believe what you want, I still love you.
None for you, Glen Coco.
Yeah, buy my books,
I'm
after-
sitting here and
after
I'm texting Patches, and I'm like, she's gonna hate me after we get done with this book. Like, I text her a quote, and she's like, oh my God, what book is that? And I'm like, oh, that's our book. It's on page 80.
Well, I felt bad only because you were like way ahead of me and I was just not reading it.
I devoured most of it while I was in Portland, which is a weird enough place as it is. And I mean, if there's any proof of existence of aliens, Portland, Oregon is, like
the best life at Powell's that I'm still disgustingly jealous about.
Anyway, I may have been messaging Patches at Powell's and sending her videos of me and the Stags, which is totally unfair and mean and cruel, and yet I don't apologize for.
I'm like sitting in my kitchen crying. Oh, it looks great. I'm so glad you're having fun.
You and Chris need to come on out, come to the coast, it'll be fun.
Listen, you already had me at your pizza oven.
I know. Okay,
bring
fair,
Powell's into this.
Fair. Anyway, yeah, it was, I don't know, I just ended up more angry than anything at the book because it just felt it felt very much like I'm better than you because I've done all this research, and you guys to even still believe in this stuff is completely insane and absurd. Mm-hmm. And then to end the book with, but you're fine, you're allowed to, and that's all I have to say.
It's almost like, because at the end of Cultish, our book from January of this year, ended in kind of a similar vein where it was like, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're trying to figure things out. We're all curious. Let people be, in a way. I mean, of course, I loved Cultish. I know some people didn't like it as much, but I thought it was a great book. But if you're taking that vein of like, we're curious beings, like let people be people. But in the entire book, just shaming people for joining cults. Like, that's not what she was doing. But if the whole book, she was talking about how crazy people were, but she wasn't. And then ending it with like, it's okay. it's okay to be curious. My next book's coming out in 2 years, So
Yeah, but you be you.
you be you. You do your thing. Serena had your hand up, and then we'll go to Haley and then Lauren.
So first, I just wanted to say, Lauren, I really liked your point about the lack of inclusion of the locals' perspectives, and I definitely would have loved to hear that. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask, or one thing I wanted to say, one question I had for the group. There was like this minor part in the book that he is describing the Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine, and I have not been inside of it. It's a very tiny place, but he goes and describes like the whole complex that it's in pretty accurately. I've been there many times, except for the fact that he says it's next to a winery and it's a brewery, and it's like one of my favorite places. But I was just like, I heard that and I had to like stop what I was doing and like text all my friends and be like, this guy's wrong. But so since we've been talking so much about like his tone and all of that, it made me think of a book that I had to stop because I really hated the author's tone, and I was wondering if people had also read
I'm ready.
Spooked by Mary Roach.
What is it?
Because Spooked by Mary Roach.
Oh, I haven't yet. Did that have a bad
So
tone?
I had to stop reading that one because she just had an extremely disrespectful tone to her. Like one part in particular, while she was seeking, it was like she was in India and this guy who was a local was supposed to be kind of her guide. They were talking about what's it called, like reincarnation, and she's just being, first of all, completely insensitive to any of their like cultural norms, and like he asked her to do a couple like very simple things to like blend in with the culture, and she just was extremely rude to him. And the whole attitude towards it was like so bad. So I was wondering if anybody else had like read any of her other books or read that one in particular. And
I know people that read that one also typically had an issue. If they had an issue with Mary Roach's writing, they also had an issue with Amanda Montell's writing with Cultish, where there's kind of this, I don't want to call it this, but almost millennial approach to the writing, where it's kind of a little bit oh god, how do I appropriate?
There's no way to appropriately.
Like, not like, I mean, sometimes some people like it, but some people don't. Like, I thought that Amanda Montell's writing was really great. I didn't mind it, but it was kind of
What was the book that Mary Roach wrote that you didn't like? I couldn't Serena. What was it?
Spook, Spook.
It's about science tackles the afterlife or something like that.
Yeah, and she's basically trying to debunk ghosts.
Yeah, because I have her books. I have her book Stiff, sitting on my shelf still, and I haven't. I'm debating on whether or not I'm gonna read it, because I haven't. I've heard good things. I've heard positive things and negative things about her writing and the way that she approaches her subject. So
I just wish I knew the right way to express the type of writing it is. So let me think about it, and we'll keep going through. People have had their hand raised, but I have heard that before, Serena, that some people have enjoyed Mary Roach's approach to her writing, and some people don't, which is just a fascinating way, because obviously being in the Morbidly Curious book club, we read books about death and stuff like that. So it's very interesting how some people approach the topic and how some people, really, really miss it. Haley.
Oh, yeah. So what was I going to say? I was kind of listening along, but where he was like, it felt like 98% of the book was like, I'm a skeptic, like I don't believe these things, you're all dumb. And then the last 2 pages are like, oh, but hold on to your joy, but I'm going to think you're dumb for holding on to that joy. I was like, but everything you said in the previous like 300 pages doesn't automatically like get dispelled because you wrote one little paragraph blip at the end of like, but keep believing if you want to believe, but I'll think you're dumb for it. So that was a little frustrating, because I'm not a skeptic. I'm like, there may be, there might not be. Like, I don't fully know. I've never seen anything. But like I listened to the And That's Why We Drink podcast, where pretty much the whole first hour and a half are like cryptids or paranormal. And so I'm like, I can't completely dispel like that there's anything.
I love that
I
podcast.
just
I'm
wanted to
sorry.
say, oh yeah, that's literally my favorite. But and then I found a really cool true crime book at Powell's. I don't know the name of it right now. I'm not in my apartment. I'm at my parents' place, but if I find the name of that one, I'll mention it in the book club.
Yeah, you guys
Messages.
are welcome to use that, by the way. I love when you guys post on our message board. It's so much fun when people have discussions, because I'm really weary about a Discord. But this is let's just use book clubs for now. Did you buy the This Is Why We Drink book that they came out with recently?
Yes.
It's super
Mhm.
They
cool.
have a book.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a road trip, like across the
Yeah.
United States, and go see weird places and spooky haunted places.
See, now
Yeah,
I gotta
I
buy
just
it.
went
I already
to-
bought Ashley Flowers' book. I bought the
Dude.
Morbid book.
Everybody
I've got-
with the true crime podcast is coming out of the book.
Yeah.
club.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I got the Colts book because I
that one
went
too.
to like the And That's Why We Drink. They had that live show on Moment House. And so anyone who attended that got a copy of the Colts book.
Aw.
So yeah, I got the book. I actually went to the Whaley Museum last week.
Hello, we have a Mothman. See, look,
Mothman.
Mothman is real. He just turned 2. It is his 1 year adaptiversary.
Oh, sweet thing.
And now he would like to leave.
We definitely will be reading Max Cutler's book, Cults. See, he's getting on the computer again. Say hi, guys.
Oh my goodness, little guy. He's got such a little head.
We think he's like 12 weeks. We think.
Baby.
He's a baby, and he hasn't gone to the potty in a while. That makes me nervous. Yeah, we definitely will read that one. And then there's a couple other ones that people saw me posting, and they're like, I hope we read this together. Lauren and then Heather.
Oh, this is backwards, but yeah.
I put a pin in that. I have something to say about that book. Go ahead, Lauren.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Earlier we were talking about how he kind of like had a tendency to like make to talk about people who believe in cryptids and stuff like that as kind of not being as intelligent as him, to like see beyond the veil or whatever. I do think for somebody who is so skeptic and seemingly like kind of anti fantasy, he did spend a lot of time talking about things like Lemuria and stuff, which I think are grounded like after you learn about like continental like plate shifting and stuff, there's no reason to believe in Lemuria or anything that comes from it, you know? So he spent so much time like setting that up as like a foundational like thing to come back to, even though it was like long since been proven like to not actually be a thing, like actually scientifically. So it kind of, it blew my mind that he's so skeptic that he spent a lot more time talking about like less about like the cultural things that have a little bit more like the loosey goosiness to them, where like it's more like, oh, you could believe in stuff like this because it's not exactly true or whatever, but it's also, there's like room for mystery there, but there's not. I personally don't think there's room for mystery and stuff like Lemuria and the mountain. I read it on Audible, so I can't remember what it is, but the big mountain that had like aliens living in it or whatever.
Mount Shasta.
Yeah, so
At least I was able to contribute something.
like he kept going back to that, and I was like, if you're such a skeptic, please stop bringing up the like obviously fake stuff. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. No, it does. It does, because you're coming at us, so much science. It's like, well, sir, sir. Yeah, I'm very happy I was not alone in this and feeling while I was reading this. Heather.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I've read all, but I was looking at it while I was waiting to talk. I think I've read everything but 2 books by Mary Roach. But then I realized it's been a while since I picked up one of her books because the last 2 it looks like the last one I read was like before 2016 or something. I like her writing, but I hated the book Cultish. And like now it's making me want to pick up Spook again because I think I read that one right after I read Stiff, and I discovered Stiff like way past like its publication. So I don't know. I just find that interesting. Like I just always found her writing to be just like slightly like making. I always took it as like her trying to make a serious thing a little humorous so you could better like digest it versus making fun of it. But also I'm very different like now than I am when I first read it. So I'm wondering if I went back and read it, I would have a different opinion about it.
Well, I also want to point out that I have not read
Yeah.
anything by Mary Roach, so I
Yeah.
could be wrong in what I am saying.
Yeah, no, it's
but
just curious. I'm
some people
curious
have
about it
pointed
now.
those together.
Yeah. 'Cause-
So go ahead.
I was saying, I'm just wondering if I read any of her stuff now, I'm wondering if I'd be like, wow, I kind of hate this.
I have Stiff and Spook because I'm very curious about it. But yeah, I have seen a couple of reviews that say similar things to that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at one point we will read something by Mary Roach. We just haven't yet, but typically with Morbidly Curious Book Club books, Mary Roach is one of the first people. Stiff is very popular.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point we'll come across it. I just haven't read any of it yet.
Yeah,
So
I'm also
I-
surprised she's had so many more, like so many books published. It's like I thought she was just like kind of done, but
No,
she
no,
has like 2 more that I'm like, oh shit, I haven't read that.
What's up, little man? What you looking at me like that for? So this is somewhat off topic. I do apologize. Quick little story here. I just feel like no one likes to be mocked. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A few things maybe. But no, I get what you're saying. So fun fact, I went to a local bookstore recently. This is a note. I put a pin in Amber holding up the Slender Man book that just came out recently by Kathleen Hale. So I had not recognized this author, and I am very, very, this isn't exactly a cryptid, it's a creepypasta, but I'm very interested in Slender Man. I think that whole situation is very fascinating. I think it's very creepy. Even so much so that whenever I was in college, I created a Slender Man web series. Is it still on the internet? Yes. Will I share a link with you? Absolutely not. It was so
We
much.
got Google. We got Google. We can find it.
Good luck. I had a blast.
Is it under patches or?
My name is nowhere on it. My name is nowhere on it. It was just what the show was called, but it was fine. We were just having fun. It was a good time because I was a film student, and one of my good friends, John, at the time was the artist for Under Patches. My buddy John was into creepypasta.
Sorry, that was my.
We befriended each other because he wanted us to create a web series, and it was a lot of fun because I got a chance to like work with some editing stuff. So in the midst of us filming this web series, 2 friends try and murder their other friend in the name of Slender Man, and I was we had to put out like a message because we had like this pretty big Tumblr page, if you want to call it that. So I had to put out a message like, we do not support, I guess, the actions of these 2 girls. I didn't know what to say. I was shit, I'm trying to support this Slender Man web series, but people are out here killing each other in the name of Slender. Well, of course she survived, but anyway. So I was super excited to see that there was a Slender Man book. I was like, finally, somebody's writing about this case. So I went to my local bookstore. I picked it up along with a couple of other things. Megan Gidding's new book, which is phenomenal, by the way, if you want to pick that up. And I was doing a book haul on Book Talk. And I was like showing all the books that I got. And somebody was like, oh, Slender Man. Is that the author that stalked the bad Goodreads critic? And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
Kathleen Hale. Fun
Wait.
fact. Wrote a YA book Which here's the other thing. She's a YA
No,
author.
it's not her. God damn it.
So I was with my whole chest. I was like, Slenderman, I'm so excited. And everybody's like,
Because like I was also excited because it talks about literally mental health and incarceration too.
right. We didn't get that last month. No, I'm just kidding. We kind of did. So I looked it up, and apparently Kathleen Hale used to write YA books, and they weren't, and this was like in 2012, 2013, 2014, and they weren't as great as people would have liked them to be. And this one reviewer posted this scathing review of her book and pointing out all the problematic things in it. You know, I don't remember what exactly it was. I don't remember if it was like anti-Semitism or racism or what it was, but there was a couple things.
I feel like it was anti-Semitism.
It was kind of, yeah, there was something in it that was like, oh, this is not good. So
yeah,
Kathleen Hale took it upon herself to quite literally find out where this woman lived, and showed up on her front doorstep, and did not get in trouble for it, and then proceeded to write a book about her being a crazy stalker. And
maybe that's why I just picked it up and read the author bio. It says Kathleen Hale is the author of 2 young adult novels and 1 essay collection. They don't name any of her books.
I had no idea. And I typically am pretty good.
She has written for The Guardian, Hazlitt, and Vice, among others, and is a writer and producer for Outer Banks on Netflix, apparently. She was born in Wisconsin and lives in Los Angeles.
I didn't know the Outer Banks part. My buddy,
right? Just we're filling in the blanks for each other today.
Dude, I went to school with Drew Starkey. I went to school with Rafe, I think his name is. I didn't even know she was involved in that. Oh yeah. My God. Okay, so anyway, I went and returned Slenderman. I would love to write a book, or I would love to read a book about the Slenderman case, but I might find it elsewhere, because another problem that people had with the Slenderman. Well, here's the other issue. Some people in the comments were saying the Slenderman book was well written, it was very well done, but I can't really do that separation process. So I can't support an author who just blatantly stalked somebody and didn't get in trouble for it. So
I'm like, I may have accidentally acquired my copy of it. So hey, at least I have that going for me.
Sure. I'm curious, a part of me does want to listen to it, because some of the reviews are interesting. And they say, she has sympathy for the victim, but she actually has a lot of sympathy towards the 2 girls as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, in a sense, where they were like, I feel like she's not supporting the victim enough. But
yeah, it was like,
I also feel like these 2 girls, they were so young, need a little.
Because it says here, like, I guess she grew up in that area where it all happened. Because like I read got to the author's note, and then I was like, I'm not in the mood for this today. So, but like she says, it was like it took her 7 years to write this. Her sources include police reports, doctors' reports, police interrogations, court transcripts, previous coverage of the case, and other public records, as well as her interviews with psychologists, private investigators, juvenile justice experts, historians, professors, parents of children with mental illnesses, Morgan Geyser, her friends and family, her defense team, and her pen pals. I also relied on police interviews with the victim, Peyton Isabella Lutner, who is referred to in this book as Bella. But he said, but apparently neither Bella nor Anisa's family wanted to talk to her.
So that says a lot.
I was unable to interview Bella or Anisa Wire. I depicted them according to public records, including social media postings, court documents, and television interviews with Bella and her family, as well as public statements made by Bella and Anisa's friends, family, and teachers. I guess she says, this sounds like almost like I feel like she has this obsession with stalking. Now that you bring that up, because she's like, I grew up about 30 minutes from Waukesha, where this crime took place. Throughout the book, there are times when I describe Wisconsin's culture, traditions, seasonal patterns, politics, and establishments, drawing from my own experiences. Scateland, for instance, where Morgan and Anisa spent their last night of freedom, was a popular birthday venue during my childhood. And then she's like, in 2018, I moved back to Wisconsin for 3 months to conduct research and interview people there. A county well known for being one of the 3 most conservative voting blocks in Wisconsin. A place where many residents equate media and press with classist snobbery and fake news.
See, here's the thing. I don't fully support people inserting themselves in cases just because they're from that area. Like, I know you will probably provide little details and tidbits that not everybody will know. I don't care about the oak tree that you were looking across at your window every day, where somebody
And I think that all
You know what I
start.
mean?
Didn't that all start with like Anne Rule?
in a
And the
way,
fact
I
that,
guess.
yeah,
But
because wasn't it Ted Bundy that she
I think that one's just a little different because
I think that
she
that was like
worked
an
with him.
accident. Like she didn't plan to be
right?
like on like the suicide hotline with Ted Bundy. It was like
I
kind of
didn't
they
plan
were
on
both
looking at
on it.
serial
And then
killers.
she discovered after the fact. And so then she wrote about her experiences being on a suicide hotline with Ted Bundy. And I think that's why I think hers was different. Is
The
like,
stranger beside me, right?
yeah, like
Right.
it wasn't like she went and sought him out. Like she
Sure.
was already working on the suicide hotline because she was she was in law enforcement. And then Ted just happened to join it for like, I think it was like his public service or community service or whatever. And she had no idea who he was. And then all the stuff came out about him being who he was. And she's just like, oh my fucking God, that's the dude
Yeah,
I
but
sat
that-
next to
that I
on the
kinda
suicide
get.
hotline.
That I do kind of get, and actually do. I know we typically read kind of recent books, and I was actually looking forward to picking Slenderman to read with you guys at some point, but unfortunately, I just really don't want to support that author because
Yeah.
she did all these things. Even if the book is good, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I do want to eventually do some backlisted books, I guess, if you even want to call it backlisted. But I personally have never read The Stranger Beside Me, but stuff like that definitely. Anyway. I just wanted a quick tidbit on Slenderman and why.
And I was
we
going to say
probably
a
won't
quick
read that.
side note on authors who insert themselves into things. If anybody has Discovery Plus, the Hell
God.
in the Heartland series that was originally on HBO that we couldn't find anywhere, no matter how hard we tried, is now on Discovery Plus. If anybody wants to watch, feels like watching it.
Hard
I
pass.
discovered it.
Good to know. I was curious.
I think I don't know. I don't know.
It was like I think like I'm past the first episode. The first episode was good. I like it because like for me it's like I like it because it kind of puts like a face to the names of a lot of the people and voices to like a lot of the people like we learn about because like you actually get to like see and hear Jeremy Jones. You get like see and hear like a couple of other, can't remember off the top of my head. And it's just like, it kind of talks a little, there's like, it talks a like, because like the whole first episode, which is like, I think 40 or 50 minutes, like, or like something like, or an hour or something that is literally just about them finding like the fire happening and them finding the trailer. So it's like almost an hour of just discussing how OSBI fucked up the whole trailer search. So that's kind of like, so it gives like a little, like, don't know the rest so far, but at least the first episode was really good in giving a lot, even more context, I think, to things that like we read about or we talked extensively about or like were slightly addressed on like the 40-minute episodes by like Cold Case Files or whatever. But like it's like it goes very in depth on what happened, and you see a lot more like footage of like kind of like the trailer and how like absolutely decimated it was, and like the neighbor, and this like also how I guess like you see like how desolate and like separated everybody is from each other, because like you see at one point you see like the trailer, but then they zoom way out and you just see how much land like they actually had / was like in between them and their next neighbor. And that kind of also like kind of I think like kind of put into context like how really out in the middle of nowhere they were, because like we knew they were out in the middle of nowhere, but like
Right.
seeing it, you're just like, oh damn, y'all were really out there.
You should take a trip to my neck of the woods. Yeah, I never finished Hell in the Heartland. Actually, there's a few. Actually, I don't think any book with the Morbidly Curious book clubs that I didn't finish at the time I actually finished yet. I don't think I've finished one.
I have, I think 3 chapters left in Hell in the Heartland. I did finish Waiting for an Echo.
I was trying to finish Waiting for an Echo, and my time lapsed with the library, so I got them to push it one more because I'm like, I don't feel well. Let me just call. And they're like, well, just go ahead and do one more, so they don't have to, COVID spray or anything like that. And so I couldn't do it anymore. Like that one, the one thing that I struggle with nonfiction books is I'm a fast reader, and because my brain works fast, but even though my brain works fast, when it comes to like fiction on nonfiction, it's like I need to read every single word. Like I need to go back and make sure that I'm understanding it, because I mean it's nonfiction, so it's
Obtaining more information.
Why do you think I am the master of the tab? Because literally, I literally, like when I was a kid, the amount I read, like literally, when I tell you I could read epics in like a day and a half. Like I read, like I think it was like Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix in a day and a half, and then went and gave my mom a 45-minute synopsis on it at 1 in the morning.
That's me.
But now now because of my ADHD and just childhood trauma and PTSD and all of that, my brain's just like it's like a sieve. So that's why half the time I do like the tabs and highlighting, because it forces me to pay attention and to slow down and actually like read it. Because like otherwise I would do like the reading, but for me, but at that point, like I'm not actually like reading it. It's just kind of like the brain. It's like my brain's just kind of like glazing over and like just going up and down the pages, but not actually like reading it.
Well, I will say next month's book, you definitely want to get those tabs ready. Get them ready.
I feel like every other month, like it's like every other month I'm like, hello, me and my tabs have arrived.
I squeezed this in to our picks because I read it recently. It's one of my favorite books of the year. I cannot wait to discuss this with you guys. I think it was Ralph who made the joke that I planned this accordingly, because September 2nd, I will be busy. September 2nd through September 4th. Nobody speak to me. I'm just going to be sitting with my PlayStation all weekend. Okay.
Guess what?
Playing The Last of Us. Nobody out of office.
Patches.
She's actually hired me as her personal secretary for those 4 days. So just send all messages to me. I won't get them to her because I value my life. So don't talk to her on Instagram. Don't talk to her on. Don't check her TikTok. It'll be just empty. It'll just be nothing.
What days are those?
Say that, Haley.
What days are those? Because my fiance will also be out of commission
those days, so I need upcoming weekend.
Friday, Friday at midnight. Saturday 2nd.
Okay.
My ass is in that room until
I'll
Monday.
be camping.
I'm gonna say, guess what, Patches? I now have a PS5 child of my own.
Yes.
I was blessed. Like my friend, like, where was it? I think Wednesday morning, he posted on Facebook. He's like, for some reason, he's like, PlayStation restocked at like 11 last night, but they're still there on the site. Like, and this was like 11 in the morning the next day. And it was like technically I had to buy the PS5 bundle with Horizon Forbidden West, which I've actually already beat, and I'm now onto the New Game Plus version, but it was either buy it with the game I already own or not get one at all. So here we are. I now have PlayStation 5.
I have an Xbox.
Boo. Bye. Bye. So I'm very, very though. Book club, focus on book club. Very, very excited to read this book with you guys. It's one of my favorites. Nathan from Schizophrenic Reads also loved it, which I feel like I have his seal of approval.
Ooh, yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, I was just saying
I'm
you have the Nathan seal of approval.
That's all I need. I enjoy it.
You got the true crime book club that is run by Spookish Mommy.
Oh yeah.
We're also reading that book next month as well. So now I've got one book for 2 book clubs.
She might have messaged me about doing like a joined book club, like both of ours coming together, which would be so much fun. And we should, at the same time, we were both like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'd love to do it. So we'll figure that out, because I think, oh my God, said on TikTok said, said, CEDSAID. I was sad my PS5 didn't come with Alana Pierce. I wasn't expecting to laugh that hard when I saw it. Ralph is okay, I gotta stop looking at messages. Hang on. Get it together. I'm trying to wrap this up. House of
I
the
was gonna
Dragon
say
came out
another
half an hour ago.
quick recommendation that's not like nonfiction.
Oh, I've heard
but
that's really
I like how I have
good.
to put these. I'm putting these sideways because I'm sideways. It's called Into the Forest and All the Way Through. It's a book of poetry, but it's a collection of true crime poetry of missing and murdered women. And each poem, I guess, is about a different missing or murdered woman. And there's like a bajillion poems. Like,
I will say to that.
I heard
end,
that was really good.
mhm.
I am potentially in the process of cooking up something that would be relevant for.
Ooh. Yeah,
Put
'cause
a
I think
pin in
in like,
it.
and I think she like focuses a lot on in like women of color as well with it. Especially for indigenous women.
What that?
Yeah, because she's like, before you continue in the forest, I leave you with a few more thoughts. We're living in a silent crisis, the crisis of missing and murdered women in our society. There are thousands of missing women in America. There are thousands of women who have been murdered, yet their case has gone cold and ignored and forgotten. For women of color, this is especially an epidemic. Hispanic, Black, Asian, and particularly Native American women go missing at much higher rates. General population, and somebody knows something. I cannot stress this enough. Somebody knows something.
Yeah, I will. Because that I'm gonna buy that soon, and there's a reason. So I'll put it on. I'll put it on the website. But September 30th, which is a Friday, I hope that people can join us. It is a Friday at 8:30. I did it a little bit later to compensate for West Coast friends as well. So hopefully everybody can come to it. Because yeah, this is probably my favorite book of the year. And I'm very excited to talk with you guys about it. So I'm grateful that you all are here. I'm very sad that this was kind of a miss. So I apologize for that.
But at least it was like, I feel like it was at least a collective miss.
Yeah, that always
Right.
was good. So I apologize for that. Next book on cryptids will hopefully be better. Let me read it first before I suggest it.
If you want recommendations, I have them.
Message me. I need them because what the hell was this? Anyway, I love you all. I love you all very much. And September 30th, you will probably hear me gush about this for an hour. Very excited to chat with you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This will be up on YouTube. You guys know how to do everything. Y'all are regulars at this point. You know what's going on.
Can't wait to see myself sideways on YouTube.
I think I've ever been on.
Because I had to
YouTube.
charge my phone, and so the only way like I could get it without it being like awkward because of like my charger was that I eventually just end up putting me sideways. Like y'all just saw me tilt further and further and further to the side.
I love it. Oh hi. Thank you for we're wrapping up the book club. I'm gonna go ahead and end that, or else I will forget to go off live and say something stupid. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in a month.
Bye.
Bye.